Okay, folks, Captain Paul here, and today we're going to talk about America's Great Loop. This would be Series 6, and today we're going to talk about the run from Delaware City Marina all the way over to the Erie Canal. I think that's a good run to talk about today. Not a whole lot on that run. It starts to get very, very expensive. Tim out of Delaware City Marina, you heard from the last video that that's where I've actually done a couple of pullouts there. I've done quite a bit of staging there at that marina, Delaware City Marina, and Tim sends me a birthday card every single year now. Anyway, long story. Anyway, what'll happen there at Delaware City Marina is you'll get a briefing. The Delaware is a very tricky body of water, lots of current and weather, so you got to be very careful on the Delaware. It's not a long run up the Delaware, but it's definitely for us in the 7-knot trawlers. It's a pretty much an all-day run, 6-7 hours, leaving Delaware City Marina and then heading up to Cape May, Florida, Cape May, New Jersey is where you will stop. That'll be your first stop. We got educated there. There's a place to anchor right there at the Coast Guard station, or you can stay. There's a loop marina there where you can use the Loop Association. We went to the downtown marina. It wasn't the city marina. This downtown marina. It was very, very expensive there. We only thought we were going to be there one night, but because of weather, we ended up staying there. I think it was 3 nights, and so it was very, very expensive. It was a mistake I made because I should have went with the Loopers at the Loopers Marina and saved a little bit of money and then done. This was a mistake that I made when I got to New York City. I should have stayed at Liberty Landing. We stayed somewhere else, and we'll talk about that here in a second. Anyway, when you get to Cape May over there, you'll get your briefing from Tim. He'll tell you what day to go, what's going to happen out there in the weather. You get over there to Cape May, you got to make your decisions because you can anchor in front of the Coast Guard. You can stay at any of the marinas over there in Cape May. I do suggest stopping there because it is a very, very cool place. Super nice, beautiful beaches. But once you get to there, you've got decisions to make. There's some people that'll try that inside passage there. I have tried it once. I had no luck with it. They say that you can do it, like especially if you're the guys with the 3.5-foot drafts. Somebody on a boat like this one with the drafts, you don't have that full 4.5-foot up draft. It's possible to try it, but I've never had any luck with it. I've always ended up on the outside there from Cape May all the way into New York Harbor. Lots of marinas, but again, gets very, very expensive. I want to say like at Cape May there, it was probably close to $300 a night to stay there. And then it doesn't get any cheaper going up the coast there, Doesn't get any cheaper running up the coast there. And then just before you get into New York, I'll put the exact marina that we stopped at here on the Navionics right here. And that's where we topped off our fuel tank running into New York, because once you get to New York, everything gets very, very expensive. That's true and not true. So anyway, again, we ran up. We just did. I've been to Jersey City, but not on my loop trip. We just kind of hopscotched in and out of all the different marinas. And go in the inlets. I think once we threw our anchor out, all the other times we just stopped at the different marinas going up the coast there. And then the day coming into New York was an unbelievable day for us, actually. We had whales breaching in the background, and we get to see the Statue of Liberty. Absolutely amazing day. I'll never forget it. I'll have to find some pictures of it and show it to you right here. But anyway, it was just very emotional, it was just an incredible time. And you've accomplished this in your own boat, and here you are. For us, we were getting close to over halfway America's Great Loop, and it was very, very emotional pulling in there. When we got to New York City, we stayed at. There was a mooring field on the other side of the city, and we ended up, I'll show it to you on the map here, where we stayed, but we stayed in a mooring field over there. It was like $40 a night. That's why I said New York can be very expensive, or it can be inexpensive too, because I did a lot of traveling to New York, and you can walk down the streets there and you can get a $2 slice of pizza, or you can walk into the local hamburger joint and spend $25 on a hamburger. It's your call. It can be super expensive, or it can be less expensive if you know what you're doing. So anyway, we stayed at the mooring field. It was, I want to say, if my memory calls me back now, remember this is 3 years ago now. It was $40 a night. I do think it was there. Where Liberty Landing was about, it was almost $300 a night there too at Liberty Landing. Now that I've done it a few times, I've stayed at Liberty Landing. I recommend it. If it's your only time you're ever going to do it, please just stay at Liberty Landing. There's also a anchorage right there at the Statue of Liberty. The problem with the anchorage is there's a lot of wires and stuff like that. You get your anchor caught into something, or the weather isn't really good. I don't recommend it. I've never tried it. I've heard good and bad about it. Just really know where you're at and where you're anchoring if you are going to make that decision. But it's just nicer because you're not going anywhere. If you go over to Liberty Landing, if you don't stay at Liberty Landing and you stay in that mooring field, they're charging you $40-50 to get off your boat. So may as well just pay the slip fee and be done with it. And that's just one of those places where you bite the bullet and spend the money. Enjoy Liberty Landing Marina and all the stuff that New York has to offer. If you've never been to the city, it is a pretty cool city. You can go see lots of sights to see over there in New York, and I highly recommend it. I've done all the tours and stuff like that, so for me it wasn't that big of a deal, especially doing the loop, because we've traveled the city and stuff like that. I've done all the tours. It really wasn't that magical. It was the magical part for me was pulling in there in my own boat, seeing the Statue of Liberty, and then going past Liberty Landing and stuff like that. Just an amazing ride. So now we're leaving New York. Things get much better after you get up the coast there, because now you're in the Hudson. The Hudson. I've done the Hudson a couple different ways. I've done it in a slow trawler and I've done it in the fast trawler. And for me, because we left Liberty Landing and we were pulling up to the entrance of the Erie Canal in like a 1-day period on the go fast. On the slow trawler like mine, I think it was like a 4-day run. We just did our 50 miles a day and enjoyed the Hudson. It was probably one of my favorite. I mean, you're going to go past West Point and all these different historical things. And the price gets much cheaper as you're going up the coast there, going up the Hudson there, because you'll get to stay in some of these yacht clubs and stuff like that. And they're typically out in the mooring fields there. They're $50-60 a night. You got some state parks to stay at. Same thing. They're $120 a night. So the Hudson was absolutely probably one of my, to this day, probably one of my favorite rides. It's just a beautiful scenic ride going up the Hudson. And then you start at the mouth of the Erie Canal, and I believe that's where we're going to stop this video today, because we'll talk about on the next video we'll talk about doing the Erie Canal and then the Great Lakes and stuff like that. But anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying these series. I hope you're getting something out of them. Anybody has any questions or anything, you can call me. Anybody wants any information on this main ship, we thank Tom for letting us do the videos from this main ship right here. This is a 400 main ship. It is for sale by owner, and it's $215,000 is asking price, but I'm sure he'll entertain offers. So anyway, anybody's interested, you can hit me up with your comments down below, and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. Anyway, peace out. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe, share it with your friends, and I do appreciate the support on YouTube. Thank you guys so much. Bye.